Well, this is the first up news that we are getting on Delhi government swinging into action over air pollution crisis in the city. There is a cabinet meet which is scheduled. An odd-even formula could be discussed. Yesterday, Arvind Kejriwal had given out a hint of how odd-even formula third phase could be on the anvil to ensure that air quality improves in the capital. And now, even as Delhi cabinet is set to convene an emergency meeting, third phase of odd even could be rolled as well. My colleague Ilma joining us with all the details on the story. So Ilma, emergency meetings not only between Delhi ministers but also expected with the Lieutenant Governor. You have the Union Environment Minister also calling for another emergency meet, and all these steps being taken by Delhi government. One of the landmark steps is odd even formula that we've seen being rolled out in the past two phases, although the questions are still on the success of odd even scheme, but at least it will be a step in the right direction.
Devina, what we need to realize is that the pollution levels in Delhi just did not happen all of a sudden. This problem has been happening for a year, it's culminated into this now. As Union Minister, Environment Minister Anil Dave had said earlier that this is, they had been warning Delhi for the past year to keep it in check, but clearly there was nothing done about it. Odd even was implemented 2 times. There were 2 fortnights where odd even was implemented. But a study by the Central Pollution Control Board to the National Green Tribunal had clearly stated that even though there was lesser traffic and the roads were clearer, it had absolutely no effect on pollution. Pollution levels did not drop because of odd even. So maybe if odd even is going to be effective this time is also another point of contention, because we're not sure it's going to help pollution levels again. Another thing we need to keep in mind is that the measures that the Delhi government is saying it will implement, Arvind Kejriwal also hinted at artificial rain. We need to realize that it's extremely expensive. It's also impractical, and in a city like Delhi, something like artificial rain cannot be implemented. So measures are being taken, but how much of an effect will they have, we'll see in the coming days, Devina.
But much has not been done, Ilma, as well. Specifically, what about the promises of Delhi government of using at least vacuum cleaner-like models to clean Delhi roads? The tender is still stuck in bureaucratic red tape. Meanwhile, let's take a pollution check this morning. My colleague Jugal joining us. Jugal, we understand that it's a slight improvement from the past 2 days, but areas like Punjabi Bagh, which are residential areas, still also indicating the worst air quality index.
Not just Punjabi Bagh, which is in the western side of the city, but also places like Anand Vihar on the eastern edge. Now, this is the north central Delhi, which basically houses the central government, the state government, residential quarters for senior ministers and bureaucrats, 999, when the safe limit is just 50, extremely hazardous in nature. We then move on to the central Delhi area, which, as we are aware, is the Lutyens Delhi, the green zone, so to speak, of the city. And there too, we're faring no better. 781 is what it is when the limits, of course, are far too less. Moving to the east, which is where the borders of Uttar Pradesh come into the picture. Ghaziabad, Noida, Faridabad, these are the key residential townships surrounding east. There too, the situation is extremely bad. Hazardous is the level that is being spoken of. Moving on next to the West Delhi, again an area which borders Gurgaon, for that matter, Haryana state on the whole. That's where 980 is the level. So there's clearly no respite that the city has had or the neighboring areas have had. Moving on further, after West, we speak about South Delhi. This is a so-called posh area of the city. Many residential complexes out here, many arterial roads also moving out. There is the picture there emerging is as bad. In fact, yesterday the defining image was of the Taj Mahal completely shrouded in smog. It tells you not just about the intensity, but the reach of the pollution, of the smog that has engulfed the entire, not just the city, but the national capital region, Devina.
And today morning, when you're driving to work also, Jugal, you had visibility just up to 1 kilometer. You have to be very careful in such scenario if you're taking your car on the road. Schools have been shut for the next 3 days. These are some of the images that we saw in the morning. Look at Rajpath, Jugal. Haven't seen so much of smoke and dust settle in Rajpath. You can't even see the President House or the India Gate on the other end. We talk more about the conditions in the capital at the moment. Seem to be improving a bit. But here's a reaction from Anil Dave, my colleague Supriya, speaking to him on the environment conditions and the measures taken by centre and state.
I have been joined by Union Environment Minister, Mr. Anil Dave. Sir, a high-power meeting is all set to take place today in the national capital, which will be chaired by you. Neighbouring states' environment ministers are coming. What all will be the key takeaways from this, sir?
उनके साथ तो केवल एक ही विषय है, वो पराली का विषय, कि पराली जल रही है, उसके कारण जो सारा समस्या है, जो कि अब 90% जल चुकी है, अब करीब करीब वो उतार पे आने वाला विषय है, लेकिन वो आगे ना हो 2017-18 के अंदर उसको लेकर के क्या नीति होना चाहिए और कैसे काम होना चाहिए, उसको लेकर के बैठेंगे और बातचीत करेंगे। लेकिन मूल विषय तो दिल्ली के अंदर का।
सर, दिल्ली के अंदर के मूल विषय की बात कर रहे हैं। आपने समय समय पे एडवाइजरी दी, 9 मीटिंग्स हुई, परफॉर्मेंस रिपोर्ट मंगाई, लेकिन फिर भी कहीं ना कहीं आज ये स्थिति बन गई कि दिल्ली को गैस चेंबर कहा जा रहा है।
असफलता सिद्ध करती है कि सफलता के लिए पूरे प्रयत्न नहीं हुए, और अगर ये प्रयत्न हुए होते तो दिल्ली को ये शायद दिन देखना ना पड़ता। तो इसमें तो कोई दो राय नहीं है कि ऐसा हुआ है, लेकिन अब सबसे पहले तो इससे निजात पाओ, और निजात पाने के लिए भी मेरा पहले से मत है कि ब्लेम गेम में से बाहर आकर के प्रयत्न करने की जरूरत है, और मुझे लगता है कि वो राज्य सरकार करेगी उसको।
तो जहाँ तक पंजाब हरियाणा का सवाल है, वहाँ के जो राज्य सरकार के मंत्री हैं, उन्होंने भी काफ़ी हिटबैक किया है दिल्ली सरकार पर। उन्होंने कहा कि अपना ब्लेम हमारे पे मत शिफ्ट किया जाए। क्या ये वाकई ही इन राज्यों की वजह से इतनी स्थिति खराब है कि नहीं सिर्फ दिल्ली का ही मुद्दा था?
नहीं, आगे ऐसा करके हम फिर वही करेंगे कि हमारी कमियों जो आपने दिल्ली में नहीं की, उसके लिए आप अन्य राज्यों को जवाबदार ठहराएंगे। उनका जितना भी पराली जलाने का विषय है वो केवल 20% है। 80% पेट्रोल, डीजल, कोयला, लकड़ी, कचरा और ये वेस्टफील्ड के अंदर लगी हुई आग, ये सारे विषय हैं। और दूसरा, पार्टिकल 10 को लेकर के जितनी सफाई होना चाहिए, जितना छिड़काव होना चाहिए, जितनी सारी चीज़ें होना चाहिए, 10 साल पुराने डीजल व्हीकल को फेज आउट करना था, उसमें कुछ नहीं हुआ। बाहर से जो व्हीकल आते हैं उसके अंदर हमने कुछ अभी राज्य सरकार ने नहीं किया है। तो ये सारे विषय एड्रेस करने की ज़रूरत है। बाकी राज्यों से जो होना है और बाकी करना है उसके लिए करेंगे, और विषय अगर उठाया जाएगा तो ध्यान में लाते हैं।
सर, आखिरी सवाल, कांग्रेस पार्टी जो है वो कह रही है कि शीला दीक्षित के टाइम पे बहुत बढ़िया सिचुएशन थी। आज उनकी CWC मीटिंग हो रही है जिसमें कहा जा रहा है कि ये मुद्दा भी डिस्कस होगा, पार्लियामेंट तक भी जा सकता है। इसे किस तरह देख रहे हैं?
मतदाता ने उसका निर्णय दे दिया है, मुझे नहीं देना, और अगर अभी ध्यान नहीं देंगे तो फिर आगे फिर देगा। भारत के अंदर बहुत परिपक्व डेमोक्रेसी है, और भारत का मतदाता बहुत समझदार है और सारी चीज़ों को बहुत अच्छे जानता है। और ये कांग्रेस के जाने के अंतिम दिन है, 10वां 11वां 12वां थोड़े दिनों बाद हो ही जाएगा, इसलिए उनको शोभा नहीं देता जब वो ऐसी बातें करते हैं। अगर ऐसा कुछ है तो दुनिया पहले ही बदल चुकी होती। इसमें आरोप प्रत्यारोपों का क्या है? अगर पहले कोई बहुत अच्छी चीज़ थी तो फिर कहाँ समस्या थी। लेकिन मेरा मत है उसके अंदर कि उनका मत है, वो कर सकते हैं अपने आप को अच्छा कहना। किस माँ बाप ने अपने बच्चे को कहा है कि ये खूबसूरत नहीं है? तो हर व्यक्ति, हर राजा अपने शासन को सबसे अच्छा शासन कहता है, तो उनको ये कहने का तो अधिकार है, लेकिन उस पर निर्णय करने का अधिकार दिल्ली की जनता का है, और जनता उस अधिकार को बहुत अच्छे से प्रयोग करती है।
Well, that was the Environment Minister talking to us, the journalist Arvind Bharadwaj for India Today in Delhi.
That was my colleague Supriya speaking to the Union Environment Minister, and it's another hint of political blame game being played between the centre and the Delhi government. We'll play out the entire interaction once again. But here's perhaps what our politicians can learn, because this is the one city that's been able to not only fight air pollution but also get residents to join its movement. Beijing, which was also seeing the worst pollution index even during time of Olympics. Take a look at this report by my colleague Anand Krishnan from Beijing on how they managed to win over the crisis.
Before Delhi's apocalypse, there was Beijing's. For days at a stretch during the long winter, China's capital was, not unlike Delhi today, covered in smog. But the difference is Beijing, however, is currently waging an all-out battle to conquer the apocalypse.
Series of new emission standards being released in the beginning of this year, and there's also a lot of restriction on the coal industry. For example, there are 3 out of 4 coal-fired plants being shut down in Beijing.
Beijing has been quick to learn its lessons with a 4-pronged strategy. First, the government has commissioned a major study to determine the causes of pollution, shutting down coal plants in the city, planned phase out of crop burning and banning heavy vehicles on the city roads, and a lottery system for new car registration.
According to our recent research, we discovered that there are a 12% of drop comparing the PM 2.5 concentration this year, first 9 months this year versus last year.
These measures are working, says Dong Liansai of Greenpeace in Beijing.
Beijing still grapples with pollution and smoggy days like today, but the Chinese government says the actual level of pollution has decreased by as much as 15% in 2016 compared to the previous year. And this was only because the Chinese government undertook a very comprehensive study into the sources of pollution and began by closing down coal-fired plants in the vicinity of Beijing and preventing heavy trucks from entering the city.
The government also sends out red alerts before the PM 2.5 pollution reaches 200, giving residents some time to prepare for the smog. Various kinds of masks are widely available in almost every Beijing store, with public health clinics even ordered to sell subsidized masks for 10 rupees, although more sophisticated masks are in the highest demand.
是这样，因为 PM2.5 现在人们都意识到PM2.5 对人的身体的伤害非常非常的大。然后现在的话，就是好多人就知道咱们这个净化器的话，对人的身体的话是有好处的。
But there is also a booming industry for air purifiers, with those from Switzerland in high demand.
然后呢，这个布鲁埃尔的话呢，又是22个国家驻华大使馆用的品牌，所以好多人就是非常信赖这个牌。
With a booming air purifier industry, face masks provided to school children, and regular red alerts sent by the government, greater awareness in China is perhaps the biggest lesson for Delhi as it figures out how to battle air pollution. Only when China's citizens pressured the government did it begin to take a whole host of measures. And it was only when China's citizens said enough is enough that China's government finally acted. Reporting for India Today in Beijing.
Now, these are the visuals that we're getting from Moga. Now, look very carefully of how crop stubble is being burned by farmers in spite of repeated warnings and assurances from the state government that farmers doing so will be penalized. Essentially, what happens in this process is that the leftover, the remnant of the crop is burnt by farmers. Traditionally, they're supposed to uproot the crop, but that requires manual labor. So farmers prefer burning their fields so that it's cleared of the remnants of the crop. And this is where you have the maximum pollution which arises, including the deadly invisible killer of particulate matter 2.5, which gets into your bloodstreams as well. And it is because of the winds that you can see on your screen that blows this smoke and pollutants towards the capital where it is locked. My colleague Manjeet joining us on the story. Manjeet, several assurances have been given by state governments to the Delhi and the centre that farmers burning their crop remnants will be penalised. But what we see is brazen flouting of norms on the screen.
Well, Devina, already know that Punjab is going for assembly elections, and the smoke of Punjab's paddy fields due to the burning of paddy stubble may have left the national capital in haze, but it is clear that state's environment regulatory body, that is Punjab Pollution Control Board, is going easy on defaulters, as it has not fined any of the farmers since October 28, apparently. Devina, all we know that Punjab goes to the polls in 3 months, and the ruling Shiromani Akali Dal has a large support base among
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head with that, Manjeet. Let me go across to my colleague Supriya, who's keeping a close eye on the emergency meeting that's been called by the Union Minister as well. Supriya, you spoke to the Union Minister with Environment Portfolio, Anil Dave, just a short while back. And even as Punjab and Haryana Environment Minister are supposed to be in the meeting, now will there be a strong message sent specifically to Punjab? Because both centre and state have just been soft on cracking down on the farmers, because of whom the stubble when they burn is because of which the pollution levels are rising in the city. It's politics playing over the practicality this time.
Well, Devina, the Environment Minister cleared that the only one issue that will be discussed at length will be that of crop burning in the neighbouring states, that is of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, in this very meeting. Also, the meeting will be attended by the Delhi's Environment Minister. They are saying that now, though the time has gone and 90% of the crop has been burnt, they will be actually discussing the issue as to what steps should be taken so that this situation doesn't arise next year. They are saying from now itself they have to discuss about the issue of crop burning, and they will be discussing it at the length. At the same time also, he cleared that as far as the experts are concerned, who are scientists and otherwise also agriculture experts, they will be also consulted by the Environment Ministry to get the inputs as to how the situation can be tackled. We have to understand that Punjab is going into poll, and any strong action might leave an adverse effect on the vote banks of the Akalis as well as BJP. Is this what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying the government is fearing, and that's why they were allowed to burn the crop remains. So what is happening is that as far as the Environment Ministry is concerned, the states of Punjab and Haryana are concerned, they are coming out and saying that this problem which has arisen in Delhi is 80% because of Delhi itself. There were advisories which were issued in 2015. There were 9 meetings which were followed on by the centre as well as the Delhi Environment Ministry's departments. But they are saying that now we are seeing where the Environment Minister was very categorical in saying that the failure shows that successful attempts were not made. That's why this situation has arisen. So in a way, we are seeing that there is blame game going on. On the other hand, the states are in a huddle along with the centre minister to discuss as to how to tackle this situation which has arisen in Delhi and has turned Delhi into a gas chamber.
Supriya, as we heard the Union Environment Minister talking to you, there was definitely a political blame game between the centre and the state. But why spare the acts for Punjab and Haryana as well, where farmers are brazenly flouting rules? The state government are not cracking down enough on the crop and paddy burning, which is adding to pollutants in the air. Can we afford such favourable vote bank politics both from the Aam Aadmi Party and the centre? Isn't it time to send a tough message across to states like Punjab and Haryana as well? Or will polls be above the national and the Delhi interest? Well, thanks for joining us, Supriya. Continue tracking that story very closely.